right, so it's Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Chocolate, obviously, is the thing you have to make for Valentine's Day, but you're gonna show us how to make chocolate soufflés, which I think a lot of home cooks think are probably too difficult or temperamental.
Difficult, temperamental, and the biggest problem is that they've always had to be made to order. You can't make them ahead and then stick them in the oven as you're serving the entree. So a lot of people who are doing romantic dinners at home, the souffle is out of the question because you can't just stop in the middle of dinner and go make a souffle.
Right, well you could, but then you would like stop talking to your dinner companion.
You just ruin the mood.
Right.
So I was actually very pleased to come up with a way to make a souffle that you can be made up to 1 day ahead.
Really?
So you can even make it the day ahead, stick it in the fridge and pop it in the oven. It takes about 20 minutes.
So the batter's made.
The batter's made.
Cool.
Already in your ramekin, all you gotta do is saran wrap it, stick it in the oven and go. What we're gonna do is after we butter these, we're gonna also coat it in sugar. We're then gonna freeze it.
Oh.
And that's one of the key things that allows it to sit overnight is since the ramekin is cold enough, the sugar doesn't melt into the batter, allowing it to still rise when you put it in the fridge.
Cool, so you're freezing the ramekin, not the souffle itself.
Correct.
Got it, okay. Okay, what's next?
All right, now we need to get all of our mise en place in order.
Okay.
I've talked about that time after time, getting everything you have in order. With this recipe, it's really important, again, because of temperature.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we're keeping everything as cold as we possibly can. So we're going to go ahead and separate our eggs.
Now you're going to show us a technique for how to do this properly.
Yes.
Okay.
Most people would grab an egg and crack it on the side of the bowl. That's wrong. So the way you want to do it is you want to crack it on a flat surface. Lightly crack it. You got a clean line.
So what do you do, just dip
With
your
your
fingers
hand.
in?
Your fingers are the most stable way to do it.
See, I always just kind of crack the egg and
And
just
go back
let
and
it, yep.
forth and let it hang. And that works, and if I'm not trying to be really careful, I'm likely to do that as well. All right, and again with keeping the spirit of everything cold, cold as possible, I'm gonna go ahead and take our egg whites and put them in the fridge until we're ready to use.
Okay.
The number one complaint I hear from people with cutting up their chocolate is it melts on their hands, it melts on their fingers, melts on the cutting board, and it's just a big mess. It's actually easily avoidable. We're using 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate.
Okay.
I did play with bittersweet. Semi-sweet has the best sugar content for what we're trying to do today.
Okay.
So don't waver from that. So what we're gonna do when we cut our chocolate, you're gonna cut it on an angle.
Okay.
So normally you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna cut it this way, or I'm gonna cut it this way, or I'm gonna break it up. If you cut it on an angle like this, and don't ask me why. I've asked chocolatiers this. I don't know why, but it doesn't melt. All right, we have our chocolate all cut up. We're gonna put this into a metal bowl, a nice stainless steel bowl, because we're gonna put this over a double boiler to melt it. Chocolate's melted. We're gonna stir in our egg yolks.
Oh, so you had the egg yolks back in?
We add the egg yolks back in. And we're gonna add our vanilla now at this as well.
Okay. Okay.
All right, and our chocolate is ready. We're gonna set that aside and we're gonna do our egg whites.
Are we allowed to lick the bowl?
Once we're done.
Okay.
Yes. All right, I got our egg whites back out of the fridge, nice and cold, and we're gonna use the same bowl that we used because the bowl's cold as well. We've got a pinch of baking salt, like a nice fine salt. Kosher salt doesn't really work for this.
Okay.
You want a fine grain salt. You can find it with the spices.
So it breaks down.
So it breaks down a little bit better.
Okay.
So a pinch of fine salt and a pinch of cream of tartar.
Now, what does the cream of tartar do?
The cream of tartar stabilizes it.
Okay.
So as you add this air into it, it holds together better. It doesn't break down as quickly. All right, so we've got our cream of tartar, our salt, and our egg whites. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of white sugar.
Okay.
All right, so once you've got the stiff peaks, you're good to go. And the way to test that is just to turn off your hand mixer, lift straight up, and if your peaks stand without falling over, you've got stiff enough peaks.
Now we're gonna fold.
We're gonna fold. So we're just gonna take a little bit of that, gently drop it in, and we're gonna fold the chocolate up and around. We have our chocolate and our egg whites mixed together. We're gonna grab our ramekins from the freezer, fill them up, and bake.
Okay. Now you said that, now we are going to go ahead and bake them now. Now you did say that this is something that you could hold overnight. So is this the stage where you would spoon it in and then just stick it in the fridge?
Spoon it in, saran wrap it.
Okay.
And again, saran wrap. Don't use foil, don't use, there's like cling wrap that just sticks to the edges. Use a nice saran wrap that cover it completely.
Okay.
So that way it holds all the oxygen in.
And do you put it straight into the oven from the refrigerator?
Yep, straight into the oven. The recipe calls for you to add an additional 5 to 10 minutes on, based on,
To warm it up.
to warm it up.
Sure. So the sauce that typically goes on a souffle is a creme anglaise.
Yes, that's a very traditional sauce to serve with it. Again, it's one that people kind of shy away from because you're making a custard similar to an ice cream or something like that. So people are always worried about overcooking it and screwing it up. I can't give you really any good cheats on that, but I just can show you the proper way to do it.
Okay.
And,
Well, it doesn't
it's actually
take very long.
It doesn't take very long at all. We're actually going to do it while the soufflés are baking.
Cool.
All right, so we're going to start with our heavy cream. I've got 1 cup heavy cream. I'm going to put that on the burner behind me and let that get warm.
Okay.
All right, well, that's heating. We're going to separate some more eggs.
Okay.
Again, we're looking for egg yolks this time, but we're still gonna do the proper cracking. We have our 3 egg yolks. We are going to whisk in some sugar,
How much?
1/4 cup,
Okay.
and a teaspoon of vanilla.
And this next ingredient I want to talk about. This champagne is actually flavored with
Flavored
almonds.
with almonds.
It's the first time I've heard of having that kind of an extract in a sparkling wine before, so I think it's pretty cool.
And you know, as opposed to adding some, you know, imitation almond, we're
Right.
actually adding some natural. And that's our egg mixture.
'Kay.
Just gonna grab our hot cream and we're gonna temper them together.
Perfect.
At this point, you could serve it if you wanted,
But it's really loose.
but it's really loose, it's really thick. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna return it to the stovetop and cook it slowly, and it's gonna thicken and come together to form a nice sauce.
Excellent.
We're gonna quickly take that off heat. We're gonna pour into a glass bowl,
Yep.
and we are gonna drop that in a quick little ice bath that we had prepared. And Kat, if you could stir that for us.
I can do it.
All right, and then I'm gonna grab the soufflés from the oven.
Okay.
All right, our soufflés are crispy on the top and gooey in the center. And the traditional way to serve your creme anglaise
Yeah.
is to spoon table side. And voila,
We're gonna have to try these.
happy
Would
Valentine's
you?
Day.
Yeah. Thank you. Would you like a spoon?
Yes, please. You want the one with more anglaise?
Yes.
I figured.